Okay, so just listen to this quote for a second. The radio didn't predict the future, it begged them to stop it. I mean, right away, that just sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? It completely sets the tone for the absolute nightmare we're going to unravel today. It promises a descent into something incredibly dark, a complete anomaly that defies all logic, and a puzzle that has left investigators totally baffled. Welcome to our true crime style breakdown of the Blackwood Mile mystery. We're going to dive deep into the terrifying source material of the midnight broadcast and try to figure out exactly what happened during Ethan Carter's bizarre final delivery. We'll trace the timeline, look at the evidence, and really unpack the sheer psychological horror of that night. All right, let's bypass a standard geography lesson and jump straight into the terrifying core of this isolated place. We're looking at rural West Virginia, specifically a dark, heavy rain-soaked stretch of Appalachian Highway that locals call the Blackwood Mile. It is literally in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by these massive pine trees. But the big question we really need to answer here is, what actually happens to the drivers who vanish out there? Because as we'll see, this is definitely not just some local campfire story. You see, this isn't a new phenomenon at all. If you look at the actual police records highlighted in our sources, the numbers are just staggering. We're talking dozens of people who have just disappeared along this exact same lonely road over the last 40 years. 40 years! That is 4 decades of cold cases. And honestly, the weirdest part, the cars are almost always found just sitting there, abandoned on the shoulder. Sometimes the engines are cold, sometimes the keys are still in the ignition, but the drivers? Completely gone. They leave behind absolutely nothing but unanswered questions. Which brings us to October 2026. Enter a 32-year-old delivery driver named Ethan Carter. Now, Ethan is your classic no-nonsense guy, super logical, completely fearless. He's done hundreds of these late-night runs, doesn't believe in ghosts, doesn't get spooked by dark roads. But then, he gets a ping for a final delivery that is practically screaming with red flags. The drop-off is the Blackwood Mile. There's no house number, no business name. It's literally just a geographic marker in the absolute middle of nowhere. So why would he take it? Well, money talks. The payout was an unusually high $500. To Ethan, it just looked like easy money. Actually, scratch that. It probably looked like the easiest money he'd ever make. Let's actually trace Ethan's descent into this nightmare minute by minute. So at 11:47 p.m., he accepts the order in Charleston, and it's already pouring rain. 10 minutes later, at 11:57 p.m., the highway starts narrowing, the streetlights completely vanish, and his cell service drops down to a single pathetic bar. He's getting completely cut off from the world. And then, at exactly midnight, the GPS completely dies. It's like watching a trap slowly, deliberately closing around him as those towering Appalachian pines completely swallow his truck. Right before he loses absolute total connection, he pulls up to this nearly abandoned gas station. Just one flickering light outside. And this is where Ethan's perfectly logical brain gets put to the test. He walks in, and the old cashier doesn't even say hello. When Ethan casually mentions the Blackwood Mile, the old man tells him to turn around and drops this incredibly creepy warning. He says, "It's hungry tonight." Now, Ethan, being the skeptic he is, literally laughs in the guy's face and just buys his coffee. But as he's walking out, the cashier breaks the silence with a hyper-specific, terrifying rule. If you see someone asking for a ride, do not stop. All right, so now it's midnight. The rain is just coming down in sheets. As I mentioned, the GPS is totally dead. Then, out of nowhere, the quiet cab of Ethan's truck is blasted with loud, aggressive static from the radio. And right in the glare of his headlights, there she is. A lonely figure standing dead center in the middle of the highway. It's a woman, completely barefoot in this freezing rain, wearing this old, ragged white dress. Her hair is pitch black and covering her entire face. She's not frantically waving for help. She's not moving an inch. She's just standing there, frozen in the headlights. So Ethan slams on the brakes, screeching to a halt just feet away from her. The woman, very, very slowly, raises one single hand. But she's not pointing at Ethan. She's pointing straight past him, directly behind his truck. Naturally, Ethan immediately checks his rearview mirrors, and what does he see? Absolutely nothing. Just empty, dark highway. But here's the real psychological horror of it all. When he snaps his head back around to look at the woman, she is completely 100% gone. Vanished. Okay, so now pure panic finally sets in. Ethan floors it, speeding down this pitch black road. But guys, the terror is literally just getting started. As he's hauling down the highway, this massive, impossible noise echoes from his completely sealed cargo area in the back. Bang! It is so loud it physically shakes the entire cab of the truck. Then it happens again. And again. Something is inside the back of his truck. He has to stop. He just has to know what's back there. So he throws it in park, steps out into the pouring rain, and rips open those heavy metal back doors, completely bracing himself for the worst. But nothing. He finds absolutely nothing. The cargo area is completely empty except for his perfectly sealed packages. I mean, there is no logical explanation for those massive heavy impacts he just heard. Trying to rationalize it, he slams the cargo doors shut. Maybe it was just shifting weight, right? But the absolute second those doors click closed, the sound violently shifts. It is not coming from inside the truck anymore. The heavy pounding is now coming from directly beneath his boots, directly beneath the truck itself. Let's walk through this step by step because this is where it gets insane. Ethan crouches down in the dark next to the tires. The loud banging has morphed into this slow, deliberate scratching. He can hear heavy metal literally grinding against the truck's frame, like something massive is shifting down there. And then he sees them. Two incredibly pale, human-like hands slowly slide out from under the chassis. Just the hands. Before he can even process what he's looking at, they rapidly pull back into the deep shadows under the truck. Ethan scrambles backward, heart absolutely pounding out of his chest, and throws himself back into the driver's seat to escape. He cranks the key, but nothing. The engine is completely dead. So he's sitting there in a dead, silent truck, right? And then the literal impossible happens. His cell phone starts ringing. Hold on. Remember our timeline from earlier. He's in a total dead zone. No GPS, pure radio static, zero cell service. Yet the phone is ringing loud and clear, with absolutely no caller ID. The suspense here is just off the charts, because you have to wonder, how is a call even technically connecting out here? And way more terrifying, who on earth is on the other end? Trembling, Ethan actually answers it. Through this awful crackling static, the voice of a little girl whispers this exact chilling warning. Don't let it hear you. It's already behind you. And click. Before Ethan can get a single word out, the line goes dead, leaving him completely alone in the silence again. Following the girl's warning, Ethan slowly, terrified, looks up into his rearview mirror. Sitting right there, in the back seat of his cab, is a tall, motionless figure. Its face is totally hidden in the shadows, but its eyes are pitch black. In a panic, Ethan spins around to face it, but the back seat is entirely empty. He lets out this massive sigh of relief, right? But as he slowly turns back around to face forward, the figure is standing directly in front of the truck, just inches from the windshield glass, staring right at him, and it's smiling. And that's it. The source material ends right there. It just cuts to black, officially adding Ethan Carter to the long, tragic list of souls who vanished on the Blackwood Mile. It leaves us to piece together the rest of this supernatural puzzle. But I want to leave you with a thought, something this whole explainer forces us to ask ourselves. If you were driving alone at midnight, your GPS completely died, your engine failed, and your radio just turned to pure static on a pitch-black highway, what would you do? Would you lock the doors and stay in the truck? Or would you step out into the dark? Think about that the next time you're driving on an empty road at night. Thanks for diving into this true crime mystery with me, and keep your eyes on the road ahead.